So, yet another interview of Kamala Harris, but this time we got solid answers, perhaps, about topics like this one, Biden's decline. Did she actually answer this question? Let's find out.
Can you say that you were honest with the American people about what you saw in those moments with President Biden as you were with him again and again, repeatedly in that time?
That's important. Again and again, repeatedly. Like she was around Joe Biden all the time, so this is no way that she could not have noticed something off.
Of course. Joe Biden is an extremely accomplished, experienced, and capable in every way that anyone would want if they're president.
Okay, there's one thing that Kamala did here that you should always pay attention to. This is what she was answering. She was answering the question. She was mainly looking to her right. I usually, there's like this heuristic that is not fixed, but it's very good in many instances that if you're looking to your left, you're accessing your memories. If you're looking to your right, you're accessing your creativity. Sometimes we access our creativity not because we are making up things, but because we are trying to look for the best words to say something. Maybe she was trying to look for the best words to get out of that predicament. It's not that maybe she was lying, but she was clearly not really remembering. It's like she was not recalling those events.
Accomplished, experienced, and capable in every way that anyone would want if they're president.
And you never saw anything like what happened at the debate night behind closed doors with him?
Debate night, oh my God. Who can forget that? Debate night was everyone's night.
It was a bad debate. People have bad debates.
Oh, she should know about that. She absolutely should be the leading authority worldwide in having bad debates or bad debate days.
He is absolutely.
But that's the reason why you're here, and he's not running for the top of the ticket.
Okay, this is the moment that Kamala should have said, no, that is not the reason, because he just said that we needed a fresh, angle to this, fresh blood, whatever. But, well, Biden saying fresh blood is I know that is more like Hillary Clinton's way of speaking.
Well, you'd have to ask him if that's the only reason why.
That was a nice answer to get out of the predicament. Okay, 1 point to Kamala at least. That was nice.
What do you think?
I am running for president of the United States. Joe Biden is not.
All right. We noticed that.
And my presidency will be about bringing a new generation of leadership to America that is focused on the work that we need to do to invest in the ambitions and aspirations of the American people.
Oh, that is nice. She has rehearsed that so many times. She has answered that so many times that she says that like it flows so smoothly out of her mouth that, well, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. That was maybe one of the few times that we have seen the old Kamala popping up. There's a video there that I'm going to talk about later.
It's a judgment question. That's why I ask. Can the American people trust you in these moments, even when it's maybe uncomfortable for Americans to level with Americans in that way? So that's why I ask. And it sounds like what you're saying is you.
Yeah, it's a question of trust. It's a very good question, and it's a very good remark from Hallie Jackson. And in regards that you have to press in that topic or add some pressure in that topic of what did you see and why didn't you react about that? You should have reacted. It's something that everybody knows by this point. And, well, we're going to see a video of Biden a bit later that confirms that as well. So, no, Kamala cannot just shrug this off.
You feel like you never saw anything like that from President Biden?
I have worked with Joe Biden, hours and hours and hours over these 4 years, whether it be in the Situation Room or the Oval Office. Joe Biden is the one who was able to bring NATO together,
Okay, but did he was was he in his right mind, or was someone who signed those papers for him?
During a crisis where, for the first time in 70 years, Europe saw and has seen war.
All right, that could have been prevented. In the first, don't know that the best conflict is the one that you prevent. But I guess that Joe Biden did not have that ability.
Joe Biden has done the work that has been about being a leader on what we have done to fix so much of what has been broken in terms of the economy because of Donald Trump's mismanagement.
Of course, it has to be, the blame has to land on Donald Trump in some way. But again, this is a paradox. If Joe Biden did so well, if he was the best president of the United States ever, then why replace him? Why won't you, I don't know, give him a second time? We already know that Nancy Pelosi kicked him out with that coup.
I speak with not only sincerity.
I speak with sincerity. Don't get me started with that kind of expressions.
But with a real first-hand account of watching him do this work. I have no reluctance in saying that. No, of course I don't.
Oh yeah, I guess, because if you begin to complain, yeah, he's gonna come back with a vengeance. Trump War Room, Kamala Harris says that she does not believe in religious exemptions when it comes to abortion. Well, you know that abortion is a huge topic for Kamala's campaign, and is basically like 60% of what she talks about and what her fans talk about. Women's responsibility over her own bodies, which could start by maybe closing your legs, is something that you can do. There are these kind of things that you can use to exercise your legs, like some kind of reverse scissors that you can press with your knees. All right, so you can, that could help. I don't know. Let's see what she answers.
What concessions would be on the table? Religious exemptions, for example? Is that something that you would consider?
I don't think we should be making concessions when we're talking about a fundamental freedom to make decisions about your own body.
Oh yeah, we already know that no religious concessions. We already know that whatever she did back then, and like 36 hours ago, that she went full like a prayer all over the country, saying that she's a Christian, citing the Bible and stuff. No, that ain't gonna cut it. As I told you yesterday, you have to build your reputation in that regard, and Kamala doesn't have that reputation or credibility whatsoever.
To Republicans like, for example, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, who would back something like this on a Democratic agenda if, in fact, Republicans control Congress, would you offer them an olive branch, or is that off the table? Is that not an option for you?
Notice how Kamala begins to look a bit distressed. She begins to notice how she goes back. She tilts back. She tries to interrupt her, but she does with the hand. This is like she's trying to enter in the conversation, but she can't. She's a bit frustrated, so she leans back and just raises her chin like that in a bit of I wouldn't say arrogance, but she's trying to enter that. I'm going to interrupt. Here I come. I'm going to say something. Is that off the table? What does she say?
Off the table. Is that not an option for you?
I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals.
I'm not going to engage with hypotheticals. That is, I've never liked that answer from Kamala. I don't like to engage in hypotheticals because there's so many things that hypotheticals you have to engage into. Like, what if there's an actual conflict in the Middle East? You remember that she gave that answer for the 60 Minutes interview, if I remember correctly. I don't engage in hypotheticals. So many things that can happen in the near future. You're gonna be the president of the United States. Are you gonna just wing it when they happen? You're not engaged in hypotheticals. You must have a plan. And Kamala is the one that when Donald Trump says that he has a concept of a plan, she laughs at him and she says, "Oh, he has a concept of a plan." And she, on the other hand, says that she's not going to handle any hypotheticals. She doesn't have a plan. All right? So at least Donald Trump has a concept of a plan. Matt Walsh, we have won so thoroughly on the trans issue that even the most liberal presidential candidate in history is embarrassed to talk about the issue and refuses to explicitly support gender-affirming care. The trans agenda is dying. We killed it. And this was one of my favorite parts of the interview.
The question of your beliefs, what you believe in. Let me ask you this question very broadly speaking here.
Sure.
Very broadly speaking, so don't be stressed. This is not going to break a sweat or something.
Sure. Do you believe that transgender Americans should have access to gender-affirming care in this country?
I believe we should follow the law.
That is avoiding the question. It's like sidestepping the question. She's not answering what is being asked. I believe we should follow the law. But for all the people that are watching you, we want to know what the law says. What is so complex? We're talking about a right, okay? Do you think that these Americans have the right to gender-affirming care? And you see that Kamala shrugs a bit. It's very subtle, and she presses her lips at the end. She presses her lips right here, right there. You know, that lip pressing at, oh my God, that topic. She's uncomfortable talking about that, just like Matt Walsh mentioned right before watching this clip. Why are you uncomfortable? Why would she be uncomfortable if that is a topic that she has been pushed and Tim Walz has pushed so thoroughly? And of course, the Biden administration has pushed that.
I mean, I think you're probably pointing to the fact that Donald Trump's campaign has spent tens of millions of dollars.
They're trying to define you on this.
Yes.
Yeah, they're trying. It's like she tries to blame Trump for something. Trump is just saying that they want Kamala to say what she stands for. I think that's fair.
I'm asking you to define yourself, though. Just
define yourself. What are your beliefs in this?
Broadly speaking, what is your value? Do you believe they should have that access?
I believe that people, as the law states, even on this issue about federal law, that is a decision that doctors will make in terms of what is medically necessary. I'm not going to put myself in the position of a doctor.
All right. She was being asked, and notice that she is avoiding the question. She's trying to put the responsibility on doctors. Nobody has said that doctors do not have a responsibility. The question is not about who has the responsibility of this. That was not the question. The question was if American citizens, American transgender citizens, have the right for gender reassignment surgery. Do they have the right? That is the question. You're not answering the question. You're saying, that is not my responsibility. Nobody's saying, Madam VP, that is your responsibility. Nobody is asking that. We're just asking, what do you believe? Do you believe? It's very easy. It's a very simple question. Do you believe that trans people have the right to gender-affirming surgery? Yes or no? What is your belief about that? And she cannot even answer that question. That was interesting. That can only mean that when with their internal numbers in the Democrat Party, their internal numbers say that do not mention the transgender issue. Do not mention it and try to go around it. Do not address that directly. And that's what Kamala Harris is doing. I would say I would give her a 4 out of 10 in terms of leading the conversation, because you have to be prepared for the question. You have to be prepared for this kind of questions. This is something that you're going to be asked at some point. Why don't you prepare for that?
But let's also understand that Donald Trump is running tens of millions of dollars in ads to talk about 2 cases, to distract from the fact that his policy and plan is also to take away the Affordable Care Act, which provides health care for tens of millions of people in our country.
Okay, let's say that is true. Let's pretend for a moment. I will not fact check Kamala right now, but let's say that is true. Okay, you're still not addressing. You don't want to address the fact. You're going in circles, and that tells me that you're afraid. You have fear. Why do you feel fear? Why are you afraid of a question, of a topic? That's something that tells you that it's something behind the curtain. Something that, didn't she push this through the Biden-Harris administration? Yes. Didn't Tim Walz push this? Even put in tampons in boys' restrooms? Yes. Then why can't you say, yes, transgender Americans have the right to gender-affirming care? I mean, it's even logical, right? They should have that right, because the idea of the United States, I think that the United States should stand for freedom, and any person have the freedom to, well, live their life whichever way they want. But not even that she can answer. That is the kind of patterns that I want you to spot, to detect. Oh, she is answering the question. No, she's not answering the question. That was not the original question.
That his plan is to undo the $35 a month cap on insulin, that it impacts millions of seniors in our country. That his plan is to do away with the $2,000 cap on prescription medication, the annual cap. She is digressing from the topic wildly. I'm just going to give her an opportunity, the 10 seconds left. That his plan is to get rid of the Department of Education.
What does the Department of Education have to do with, well, in fact, it has a lot to do with trans people. Now that you mention it, maybe it was a slip of the mind. You know, the Department of Education and all the trans agenda. Well, the clues are out there. It's easy to connect the dots, right? You don't need me to connect those dots.
Which would mean getting rid of Head Start. That his plan is to give tax cuts to billionaires and big corporations and on the backs of middle-class working people.
Okay, at this point, I would not be surprised that she mentioned the very fine people hoax or something like that.
So let's not get distracted by the issues that, to your point from the introductory point you raised.
Yeah, you are distracting from the original point. It's baffling how people don't see this. Well, I mean, Democrats don't see this, but I give the chance to many Democrats that I know that they realize that Kamala is not what they were looking for. That she is blaming others for what she's doing. She's blaming, let's not get distracted. You are the one distracting about the topic. Why? Well, there's only one way. There's only one way that works. That her puppet masters said, do not address the trans topic because, well, that is not popular, not even with the Democrats, with your own voters. That is interesting. That gives us, for example, the tools to just blast it. She is revealing her weak spot. You're avoiding that answer. Interesting. You're revealing a weak spot so you know where to attack.
People want to know that their president has a plan to make their life better.
Well,
that includes bringing down the cost of living. It includes dealing with prescription medication costs. It includes addressing the housing crisis and affordable housing crisis.
Okay, ya está bueno, ya está bueno ya. Mucho chance te di, Kamala, pero no, this is too much. She went just off the rails with that one. And we got this. Kamala's brain totally melted from this. She said she was leading in economy polls, and the interviewer fact-checked her, saying President Trump leads you on this issue. Kamala, brain failure, excuse me, just got in late this morning. I haven't had my morning cup. Oh my God, Hallie Jackson Hallie Jackson pulled a Brett Rayner on her.
That's not landing with voters. Because
but I
in the
think it
numbers,
is.
it's the opposite. Former President Trump leads you on this issue.
Well, when I'm out, this is why I'm going out to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan.
Yeah.
Excuse me, just got in late this morning, actually. But going to 3 states yesterday, and I'm going to continue being on the road. I have to earn the vote.
She has to earn the vote. I wonder how she plans to earn the vote. I would like to know what is her actual plan to earn the votes. And every time she's asked a very simple question, she just goes away. It's like Biden, but in a different approach. Let's say that it's pretty much the same. It's a continuation. She is not Joe Biden, but is Joe Biden at the same time. But I would like to know what do you think about this in the comments. And while you are here, remember to download my free body language tips, 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. So many tips, and you will be subscribed to my email list. Whatever happens, we can be connected through that channel. So